and the best is still evolving, always, in any field out there. Learning is ever changing, learning is ever growing, and so we will always not know enough. Hi there, it's Cameron Vakilian with Inspire, the podcast where we discuss what makes a successful career and why. For this episode, it is the first hot topic of the season. And for those who are new to the podcast, this is where I get to speak directly to you about a hot topic. And in this case, we're talking about imposter syndrome. This is very much a hot topic for students and new professionals, especially as you enter the workforce and all the many opportunities out there. It's natural to feel like you're an imposter, where you feel that you're not good enough or you feel like you're not there yet. This is something that happens for everyone in life, especially as you are a new professional, because you're going to be taking on new opportunities all the time and you're going to feel a little nervous about that, right? It's always something that is with us, but there are ways to overcome it, and we're going to talk all about that today. So I'm excited to get to speak to you on this subject. It's something that I find to be very important, and it's very personal to me because I have gone through many stages of imposter syndrome throughout my career and my life, really. Like, oh no, what if I'm not good enough? And that is something that is so real for us in so many different situations. So I want to take a minute and actually define what imposter syndrome is. Imposter syndrome is the persistent feeling of self-doubt and inadequacy despite evident success or external validation. So really what we're getting at here is this feeling of not being good enough, not feeling like you're there yet. But really, this is something that actually a lot of us feel, and especially high-achieving individuals feel. It feels weird for us. It's a space that doesn't feel like we belong, when in reality, we have the skills, we have the abilities, but it's our brain playing tricks on us. And so this is why I want to talk about this today. As you start to enter the workforce, or if you're maybe just in anything in life, when you're trying to go on to the next thing, or you're trying something new, it can be natural to feel this way. We will never be perfect at everything, not even the best of the best out there. If you really think about the most high-achieving professionals, they have all felt this sense of imposter syndrome. It's natural, and so when you go through it, just know you are like everybody else, and you are still going to make it. So now I want to shift over and talk about the 5 kinds of imposter syndrome, which authored by Dr. Valerie Young. There are 5 types of imposter syndromes. First, the perfectionist. This is, if it's not perfect, I've failed. This is where you constantly feel like you need to be the best, and if it's not there, then you've failed in some way. But really, we want to challenge that notion. What is the best? There's multiple perceptions of what the best really is, right? And so we will always play tricks on ourselves as a perfectionist. But in reality, we are all growing, we are all learning, and the best is still evolving, always, in any field out there. Next is the superhuman. This is, I have to work harder than everyone to prove myself. And this is really interesting, right? If you think about a lot of different situations where we have the superhuman effect, it's that we feel that in some way we didn't work hard enough. And if we're not working hard enough, then we're not there yet. And you're like, wow, if I could have just worked harder, or, oh no, what if people see that? And really, that is a part of imposter syndrome. The next one is the natural genius, where if I struggle, I must not be talented. So this is an interesting one, right? Because struggling is all part of it. I mean, we all are on the hustle to do what we want to do. And that involves struggle. There's going to be lows and there's going to be mistakes. And that struggle is not a sign that we're not good enough. It's a sign that we are just working at our goals. The next one is the soloist. I should be able to do this alone. And I'm sure we've all felt this, right? Like, we shouldn't ask for help. Like, we should just know this. We should be already at this level on our own. When really, in so many things in life, and if you think about your career too, we need others. We need mentors. We need colleagues. We need to talk to each other, to learn from each other's experiences, to collaborate with each other. And that's how you grow within a field. And that's what the soloist is getting at, right? It's this imposter syndrome that, well, how is it that I can't just do this? And so the last one I want to talk about is the expert for imposter syndrome. This is where you say to yourself, I don't know enough to deserve success. And so that might be in a situation where you are at a job, or maybe you're in, grad school or something like that, and you feel like you don't have enough knowledge to reach the level of success that you want or to deserve an achievement of some sort. If you say to yourself, well, I don't know enough yet, how are we ever going to get there if we don't continue to learn more? Learning is ever changing. Learning is ever growing. And so we will always not know enough in a respective field. So I think this is something interesting to think about if you're the expert for imposter syndrome, if you struggle with that. So these are the 5 types of imposter syndrome. And I really personally resonate with a lot of these. I'm sure that as I've gone through these, you have thought to yourself, oh, I'm this, I'm that. That makes sense, right? Because we all struggle with imposter syndrome. But if you think about the most successful people in your life, right? Just for a minute, imagine who that is to you. If that's somebody in your field, maybe it's a mentor of yours, maybe it's a celebrity or somebody that you just really look up to. Just remember that they deal with this too. It's interesting. There was an episode last season that we did with one of our alums, Natalia, and she talked about something that was really great called visualization. Well, if you want to be something, like let's say you really want to go to grad school and be a professor, and you think about these people that you know who are in those roles, these individuals that you think of who are high success, high achieving individuals have all gone through this same kind of imposter syndrome. But one way to kind of combat that is this aspect of visualization, already seeing yourself as that person. For example, in my personal life, I do fashion design on the side. I make clothes. I just started this about a couple years when I learned to sew. And I remember thinking, well, I'm never going to be like a designer. I'm just doing this on the side. I'm just learning. This is super fun, until it started to become more of a passion for me. And I started to realize that, you know what, I really do love this and I want to do more of this. And now I'm actually selling some of my designs to friends. And even then, still, I would think to myself, well, I'm still not a designer. Like, this isn't who I am. I'm just kind of doing this for fun. I don't have the skills. I'm not an expert at this. But this aspect of visualization, which I want you to do in this exercise, is to tell yourself that you already are that person. So for example, for me, I have to tell myself, no, I am a designer. I've been doing this already for 2 years, whether it's been small projects or simple projects that I haven't thought are very good, I'm still doing it. I am still a designer. So something I want you to do is to think about a career that you really want to be doing, or something that you're already pursuing. Let's say you're pursuing, to be a real estate agent. I want you to put, let's say, on your Instagram or your LinkedIn profile, I want you to already call yourself that person. So for me, I've done this very same thing with being a designer. I have only been doing this for a little bit, and I don't maybe feel like I'm there yet as a designer, but I still am going to put on my profile that I am a designer. So if you can see yourself, visualize yourself as that person, the confidence comes. And that's something we have to tell ourselves in imposter syndrome, is that there is always a growing and learning process. But if we can just see ourselves already in that role, and we're working towards it, we're doing everything we can to be that person, well, then we're already doing everything that we need to do. And we're doing the things that these high achieving individuals or high successful people have gone through themselves. Nobody ever starts anything and doesn't have struggles and doesn't have moments where they feel like they're not good enough or mistakes that they make. But something that I want you to think about is that as long as you're pursuing it and you love it and that you're just in it, then it comes, people see it, people root for you. And over time, you will start to develop that professional identity, that career in what you want. That's one of the reasons why we have imposter syndrome, is we have this sort of fear, this fallacy that our brains tell us that we aren't the person that we want to be. when that's just not true. Everybody is working towards their goals and their future. Overcoming imposter syndrome can take a lot of other forms as well. So it's also kind of reframing your thoughts, right? You don't know everything yet, and that's okay. And even when you have reached a point where you could maybe call yourself an expert, a professional, maybe it's been 5-10 years you've been doing something. No one is really ever there yet because fields change, they evolve, there's innovation. So there's always room to grow. Everybody has that. Also, another strategy you can do is keep wins in a folder. Whenever you have finished a project on something and it is really, you're proud of it, write that down. Write down in your own little portfolio some of the things that you have accomplished to work towards your goals. And I think that will also help you sort of curate this repository of accomplishments that will help you realize you are that professional you want to be, and it's only going to get better. Also, talk about it with other people when you're feeling nervous or you're feeling this imposter syndrome. I think it can be really good to have conversations with others who have had maybe the same anxiety as you, or in a certain field. It's really important to stay connected with your colleagues and other people that are in this with you and see what they're feeling and how they have overcome some of these fears. Because when we feel like we're not alone, it also kind of helps that easing of knowing that, we'll get through this because everybody goes through it. Another thing is to recognize progress over perfection. This is something that I know is so hard for some of us. I would define myself as a perfectionist as well. And believe me, it is not easy to be hard on myself when things don't go in the perfect way that I want them to. But at the end of the day, it's okay. Feel those feelings, but always remember your progress, the milestones that you've gone through. Frame it in such a way that you're remembering progress over perfection. Detach self-worth from achievements. This is really important too because achievements are great and you can write down all your achievements and milestones, but it shouldn't define your self-worth. You are a growing individual. You have things that you are going to learn daily, monthly, yearly. It's just part of the process. So it is not that you're not good enough or you're not worthy of this opportunity. It's that you just simply need time to figure more things out. The last thing I want to talk about is fake it till you make it. And this one I really like a lot because I know that sounds really weird, right? Fake it till you make it. Like, wait, I'm faking something? Like, that doesn't sound great. But honestly, like, faking it doesn't have to be that it's a lie or, it's a fallacy, what you're creating. Faking it is sort of faking the confidence, right? You may not feel inside that you are doing a great job at something, but on the outside, people don't know that. If you exude confidence and you're just, faking it till you make it, as they say, then it's okay. Everybody will see that you're working at it. You're doing what you need to. And it's okay if you have those feelings inside you, but just don't let the voices that say you're not good enough, creep up on you and kind of freeze you from doing what you need to do. That's what we mean by faking it, is fake the confidence if you don't always have it. So in conclusion, imposter syndrome is something that we all face. And I know that as you go about your careers, you are going to face this a lot. And just know that it is natural. It will happen multiple times throughout your life. And you just have to know that you are that person. There's a really awesome snippet from Julia Fox that I want to show, actually.
Like, that's why I always tell people, like, be delusional. Like, anyone that's anybody was delusional, like they did not calculate where they were. Like, they just believed it and they became it.
Be more delusional. I love this saying. I think it's funny because when we think of delusional, you think of somebody who's like, well, you are thinking you're this, but you're really not. But honestly, be more delusional. I think what Julia Fox means by this is really just being able to live the life you want to live. And if people don't see that, that's not important. What matters is what you think about yourself and where you want to go in life. So that's where I want to wrap things up today. Thank you so much for joining me on this Hot Topic episode. Join us next episode where our very own Lily Martinescu will be doing a Hot Topic episode herself on Gen Z and the workforce. Thanks for listening.